Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a drink, it is time for some Path of Exile discussion. Today is day 14 of the Crucible expansion. There's been a bunch of little hotfixes during this week that have added up to quite a bit, even though there hasn't been one individual patch that's been massively significant. What I wanted to do with this video is give a bit of a sense as to what's changed and go through all the little pieces of news that weren't worth a video on their own, but when you get a bunch of them together, they are important to know about. The first thing to note though is that the Crucible expansion appears to be doing very well. The website POE does a lot of data mining in game, but it also keeps track of peak concurrent players on Steam. And Crucible has had the best day 1 of any league, the best day 2 of any league, the best day 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 of any league. This has been a very successful league, and I think that's why we're not seeing any tremendously sweeping changes coming through here. We are seeing some changes, but none of them are major overhauls in the way that the expansion works. So let's go through the information that's come out so far. So firstly, there was a mid-league nerf, something we don't see very often. This was not done because of power reasons, it was done because of server stability issues, and they added a 100 millisecond cooldown to the Twister skill, which is part of the Saqawal's Flock unique helmet. So essentially what was happening here was that the Twister builds, the Tornado builds, were causing a number of crashes, and as a result, GGG felt they had to do something in order to fix it. I feel like they probably could have increased the damage numbers on this skill a little bit as well, but it's not like they've taken something from great to dumpster tier. Instead, they've taken something that was amazing and just dropped it down to just a solid performer. The second change was a few days later, and this was a really late change. This is something that would have been a lot better if it was done on day 3, but this was the Caustic Arrow bug fix. Caustic Arrow and Pierce have an intended interaction where when you pierce through a monster with Caustic Arrow, the pile of goo that is dropped by Caustic Arrow should spawn on that monster, as well as the monster where the arrow eventually terminates. This was not happening, and the arrow was only causing its pile of goo at the end of its flight. That's now been fixed, but it was fixed very late because Caustic Arrow is a build that people tend to like to play very early in the league, then respec out of. In any case, most people who were running Caustic Arrow had already moved to Toxic Rain because of this bug, and I don't see any reason that they're likely to go back to running Caustic Arrow instead. There was a bug that was making Shrapnel and Siege Ballista far more powerful than intended. That has been fixed. And then there's a number of things that relate to challenges. So here we have something where logbooks with 10 remnants were only working properly, only granting credit towards the expedition challenge if the logbook had an area level of 81 or higher. Presumably what's happened here is that GGG changed their mind on whether it required level 81 or not, decided it didn't, and decided that quite late in the process. But whatever the case, this is now working as written. There's a few of these changes where there's 2 or 3 or more conditions on a challenge. They were often not working very well. They all now work as intended. The next significant change relates to Crucible passive tree combining. There was a bug that was causing Crucible passive trees to sometimes brick when you merge them. This has now been fixed. So this means that the Crucible merging system is now stronger than it was before when this bug was in play. Additionally, there's been a bug fix to the Lighthouse Map Boss and Divine Vessels. There's also one very nasty bug that comes up early in progression, where Ungulath, one of the monsters that you encounter very early in the game in Act 1, this thing has a Vile Fireball attack that it uses, and sometimes the second wave of fireballs that come out of it can be invisible. This is far more significant if you're playing in hardcore, and it's something GGG are actively investigating but have not yet solved. Okay, so the other news that came out today was the Exilecon 2023 race qualifier events. These are going to be a very, very competitive event. This is an event that is very much aimed at those elite players. Although it's something anyone can participate in, this is definitely going to be something you'll need to be one of the top 50 or so players to stand any chance of winning. That said, this is a very straightforward event. This is going to be a rush to kill Kitava in Act 5 in a standard solo self-found fixed seed environment. Fixed seed is interesting. This means everyone will have the same layout RNG. Now these are going to be starting exactly 4, 5, 6, and 7 weeks after league start. And they're going to be pretty short events because for the best players to get to the end of Act 5 is going to take well under 2 hours. So these events are going to be won quickly, but if you'd like to be part of a big spectacle, then you can definitely find more information on that down in the description below. The prizes are substantial. The first player to kill Kitava in each of these events will receive flights to Auckland for the Exilecon weekend, accommodation for the Exilecon weekend, entrance into the Exilecon race finale. So these are qualifiers for the main race that'll be happening at Exilecon. And also they will get an Ultra VIP Exilecon ticket as well. So this is a really substantial prize, but it is something that is going to be very, 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 very hard to win. There's a bunch of information on rules to qualify. One of the key things is that you will need to stream your entire playthrough. And additionally, if you win one of the qualifier events, then you're not able to win any of the others. This will also be somewhat of a spectacle to watch over on Twitch. Something that could be very interesting is that this will be the first time a race has been run with big stakes since GGG changed the early leveling meta in this league. So all of the changes that took place to the wand recipe and the like, that's going to have a very big change on the meta of an event as short as this. Anyways, that's all I got for the moment. May your Volorbs have interesting results, and I will see you around.